In the archives of Victorian England, there is one story so grotesque, so unsettling, that even the doctors of the time refused to publish it in full. A case sealed in whispers, passed from one physician's note to another, and hidden from polite society. His name was Edward Mordrake, and he was the man born with two faces. Edward's life began in privilege. He was born into nobility in the early 19th century, a child of wealth and refinement, destined to inherit land and title. But from the first moment his mother held him, horror overshadowed the cradle. For Edward was not alone. Attached to the back of his head, fused into his very flesh, was another face. Smaller, distorted, and yet disturbingly human. To some it appeared lifeless, a grotesque mask pressed into his skull. But those who lived with Edward swore otherwise. In the flickering glow of candlelight, the second face's lips would twitch. Its eyes, dull and glassy in daylight, seemed to shimmer in the dark. And at night, Edward claimed it spoke. He was not a foolish boy, nor given to madness. Edward was intelligent, eloquent, even musically gifted. But in his diaries, he recorded the torment of his secret twin. The face, he wrote, whispered to him when the moon rose. It muttered curses, mockeries, unspeakable blasphemies. It laughed when he wept, sneered when he prayed, and hissed secrets of hell and damnation that no human should ever hear. His family tried to keep him hidden. Servants were forbidden to mention the deformity. Guests were never to see Edward without a hood or scarf. But still, rumors spread. The noble youth with a demon's face, the cursed heir, the boy who was never alone, even in his sleep. Doctors came, summoned in secret. They examined him, made sketches, whispered among themselves. Some called it diprosopis, a rare deformity where the body fails to divide. Others said it was parasitic, the remnant of an unborn twin. But Edward insisted it was no accident of flesh. He begged them to remove it. He pleaded for surgery, crying that the face was not a part of him, but a fiend that mocked him endlessly. Yet the doctors refused. The risks were too great, the methods too crude. And some, truthfully, feared what might happen if they cut into it. They wrote in their journals that Edward seemed lucid, sane, until the face stirred. Then his body would tense, his eyes would widen, and he would speak of its torment in words too dark to publish. By the age of 23, Edward could bear it no longer. In his final letter, later discovered by his attendants, he wrote these words: "Bury me in solitude. Bury me deep in the earth, far from the sound of bells and hymns. And above all, destroy this demon face, that it may not continue its whisperings in my grave." Soon after, he was found lifeless in his chamber. The details were hushed. His family sealed the records. But the tale escaped nonetheless, carried in fragments through medical notes and whispered gossip. Some claim that when they prepared his body, the second face was still there. And even in death, it smiled. Was Edward Mordrake a tragic victim of a biological curse, his body twisted by nature into a nightmare he could not escape? Or was his story darker still? A soul haunted by a presence that took flesh and clung to him until the end. Medical historians point to diprosopis, the duplication of facial features caused by a rare developmental error. Skeptics say his story is exaggerated, that the whispering face was a myth born of Victorian fascination with freaks and anomalies. Yet the persistence of the tale, the private journals, the sworn notes of physicians, the chilling details of his final request, suggests there was something far stranger than folklore at work. For what cannot be explained is the consistency of the testimonies. Servants described muffled voices in Edward's chambers long after he had fallen silent. Guards swore they saw lips twitch when he lay still, and one physician, whose name was later stricken from official papers, recorded that in the hours after Edward's death, the second face's eyes appeared wet, as though weeping. No one knows what became of his body. Some say it was interred in an unmarked grave at his own request. Others whisper that the corpse was hidden away in a medical college, dissected in secret, the records destroyed when the truth proved too unsettling. Wherever Edward Mordrake rests, the grave has never been found. And so the legend survives. A man of wealth,